Let's see. Let me see. Hola, hola, hola. Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing today? My name is Lynette, founder of DLS Credit Solutions, located in Central Pennsylvania. It's been 5 years since I've been live. Just want to say hello. And we're going to do a 7-part series on how you need to look at credit. Credit is not just the numbers, it's negotiations. Make sure you share this to your platform, things of that nature, and make sure you have a pen and piece of paper. This will be a 7-part series. I'm about to see if I can see it on these social media platforms. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, let's see. Well, somebody shared it already. God bless you, whoever. Hi, good looking people. I'm trying to get on TikTok and see if I can share, uh, see if I can get some people on there. I'm trying to see how I got the settings. Hold on. Edit. So I'm trying to see like the privacy. That's what I'm trying to figure out. All right, I'm about to go on TikTok quick. So, hi everyone. Make sure you let me know where you're tuning in from and put it in the chat. Make sure you share it. I'll be on for roughly about an hour. This is going to be a 7-part series, and I'm going to teach you to look at your credit as a lender. You know, a lot of people come on and tell you how to, get credit and become credit worthy, but they don't give you the insights on how you should look at your credit from a lending perspective, especially if you have goals in place like buying a home, buying a car, house, whatever the case may be. In this 7-part series, it will teach you that credit isn't just about the numbers, it's about negotiations. So we're going to look at this and make sure, again, you put in the chat where you're tuning in from. I will greatly appreciate it. And make sure you share it. So I know I'm on several platforms. I'm trying to get on uh, TikTok because I know TikTok was waiting for me. Let's see. I spelled that wrong. Let's see. Let's see. I'm pretty dapper tonight. Just a little bit. Not much. Let me flip. So I'm gonna have my phone while I'm trying to do this as well. Let me see if I can do this. Let me add this. Oh, it's already to the stage. I want to have the whole screen up. Hi, everybody. And I'm like, what are you doing? Make sure you let me know where you're tuning in from. This is Lynette, founder of DLS Credit Solutions, located in Central Pennsylvania. We're back with Credit Tip Tuesday. I will be doing a 7-part series so you guys can understand what credit really isn't, what it's about and what it isn't. A lot of people have it confused that if there are certain areas of the credit that is needed in order for you to become credit worthy, but it's the entire profile within itself. So let me see if I can get. Mm-mm. All right, I'm gonna flip so y'all can see it. I didn't want to hold this the whole time, but I think I might have to. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me tell my best friend I'm on because she's gonna get. Let me see. I don't know if it's like people putting their stuff in the chat. Hi. So I'm live and we're going to go over what credit is. I will go over also. Again, this is a 7-part series. It's been 5 years since I've been on. I'm trying to wait for some people to come on before I get started because I don't want anybody to say, can you go over that again? The answer is going to be no. I'll tell you, look at the recording. It will be sent to you if you register on StreamYard. If you did not, I will also send you an email. Let me see. Oh, sugar. I think because the way I have this on my phone, I think that's the problem. All right. This is what happens when you go live, when your IT is going. Hi, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, I think, and YouTube. Let's see. I missed you guys. I ain't been on Facebook Live in about 6 years. If you can, let me see. So it's saying, can post comments to some distinctions. That's interesting. So my page, I don't even know if anybody can see me on my page. Don't judge me. What's going on, guys? All righty. Make sure you guys tap the screen and share the live on TikTok. Let me know if y'all can see my screen really good on TikTok here. And I don't know if it's allowing. I wanted the screen to be larger. Let me see. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see. That's a lot better. Social media. Let me see how I look on. What's going on? I know I said it like 3 times. I'm trying to see how the screen look. All right. TikTok was, I'm like, what are you doing? All right, let me see if I can turn it this way. That's going to be hard for me to navigate and do. All right, guys, I'm about to get started. Like, I'm going to wait 2 more minutes, and then we're going to get started with this whole presentation. I am terrible with holding the phone. I love y'all too. I know it's been a while. It's been a while. Hi, TikTok. Make sure you guys tap the screen and share it live because I end y'all live. Y'all know better. I'm trying to keep this damn phone. I don't think I'm going to do it. Focus. Let me know if y'all can see my screen. All right, we got 1 minute, and then I'm going to get, hi. I'm going to see if my best friend can see me. And then I'm going to get started. Yeah, I'm terrible. What's going on, Queen? Hi, everybody. All right. Hi, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, any platform that I'm on. Again, my name is Lynette, founder of DLS Credit Solutions, located in Central Pennsylvania. It's been 5 years since I've been on, and we're going to go over, credit isn't just about the numbers, it's about negotiations. A lot of times people do not teach you how to negotiate your credit based on credit to dollar ratio. In this series, I'm only going to be on 7 times, right? 7 Tuesdays, that's it. On this series, I'm going to teach you how to look at your credit on a numerical level and not an overall, AI systematic level. So we're going to begin. Hi. So this is a disclosure. Let me know if you guys on TikTok can see my screen. All information is for educational purposes only, to grow and increase awareness. Our company, DLS Credit Solutions, will not engage in any illegal activity which is not aligned with the Fair Credit Reporting Act or any other federal regulators regarding credit laws. DLS Credit Solutions will not support instructions if you are in the process of removing items on the credit report associated with you by law. It is illegal to remove items off the credit report utilized during the account opening. We do not participate in purchasing of trade lines from an unknown source, and DLS Credit Solutions will not support credit privacy numbers, which are called CPNs. So, sorry about that A being at the bottom. But as you look at your credit, you need to really look at making smart decisions. Like, make sure you understand what credit really is and what it's not. We have to at times address the emotional habits. Everybody has their pain points of what they want, right? What they like. Everybody has weak moments. I know mine's is, sunglasses and vehicles and somewhat jewelry, right? But we have to look at it and say, okay, is this something we really want, or is this something we really need, right? We have to address the emotional habits that impact financial decisions and break down the 5 pillars of credit and how to strengthen them. Meaning you have to look at all areas of the credit report, right? And I'm not just talking about the numerical factors of it. I'm also talking about the notations to say if your debt to income ratio is too high, or looking at the fact that you have exceeded the amount of credit based versus the amount that was allotted by the creditor. So these are some things, and make sure you guys tap the screen and share the live TikTok. And if you're new here, please let me know in the chat, right? And rebuilding and protecting your personal credit with a clear plan. You must have a plan of action in place, right? You want to make sure you understand not only the credit profile, but the credit algorithm itself. A lot of people get this mixed up. Understanding what credit really is and what it's not. So when it comes to your credit score, both. Oh, jeez. Okay, sorry about that. So when it comes to your credit, many of you guys will just look at the score, which ranges from 300 to 850. Actually, credit ranges from 300 to like 900, and that comes with many variations when it regarding the numerical factors, right? So you have score models 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10T. The 10T is the trending, but what you guys also don't understand is what patterns that the banks look at. So banks have their own internal processes, right, on how they look at your credit. They don't just go by your score. So if you go for a home loan or also a bank loan, or a car loan, any loan, you have to look at the fact that what is the lender looking for, right? A lot of you think it's just a score, but it's not. It's more than a score. It's the overall behaviors and the trend of your data based on your interests. So when you're looking at your credit, it's not just, hey, you have a 500 or 600, 700, and 800. They're looking at the fact that what are your behaviors? What are your interests? So one thing credit is and what it is not, it starts by understanding these areas. You have to understand your patterns and how they associate with your nerves in the brain. So, like a person can see what you're doing or actually understand what you want soon as you come in. So, I'll give you an example. If you go in a dealership, right? You go in a dealership and say, oh my God, I want this Dodge Charger. The Dodge Charger is your interest and they don't care how you get it, right? So, they look at the fact that one, the first question they ask is, how much are you able to afford? Never tell a dealership how much you can afford. Because here's why. You're starting their profit margins. The first question you should ask is, what is the ticket price and who are the banks you're going to do relationships with? Because if you say, well, I want this car and I can pay $850, guess what you're going to pay? $850 a month, plus your insurance and plus other things. And what happens with that, you have put yourself in a APR and also something called the tip, which we go over in a variation of series that is called the total interest percentage paid. You will begin to see that you're setting your own self up for failure. And that is very important. Give me 1 second, sorry. Okay, so okay. That's what I'm saying. I don't think people can see me on social media. That's crazy. On Facebook. So why people understand it? Because the product is based on your behaviors. So again, if you go inside of a dealership, they actually know what you want based on the interest. And they know you will do any and everything to ensure you get that. That is something you have to learn how to channel in and say, okay, I want this Dodge Charger, but how am I going to negotiate to ensure that I remain compliant of not only the contract, but what I can really afford? And the worst mistake is going in and stating that, hey, I can pay $850 for a Dodge Charger. A lot of times you can't even pay $850 for a Dodge Charger. Reason I know this because not only am I a credit service loan broker through the Pennsylvania Department of Banking, but I know how underwriting and lending works. So in this section, and again, if you have any questions, let me know. My best friend says she really cannot see me on Facebook, and that's weird because it shows that I'm live. So when you're looking at the overall credit profile, think about the 5 cranial nerves that's associated with the 5 C's of credit. We got credit age, credit utilization, payment history, overall credit, and mixed credit, right? When you're looking at that, the behavior science of credit comes down to your interest. So when we're looking at the 5 cranial nerves, we're looking at areas of vision, basically what are your capacity, also looking at different areas to say, how am I going to make this sale? That isn't anything you want, right? Doesn't matter if you want a purse, a wallet, a car, a house, regardless. If you want it, they're going to ensure you get it based on your interest. So again, it's not just about the numbers. It's about how the 5 C's of credit is associated with the 5 cranial nerves of the brain in order for them or any of us that is in business to make the sale. So the one cranial nerve I want to go over, and this is neuroscience inspired financial framework. This is something that our organization studied for quite some time. It is going through certain processes, and we link this based on certain credit scores in different areas of the United States based on the zip codes. So we're looking at credit to say, okay, we know certain zip codes may be interested in X, Y, and Z, and certain zip codes may be interested in other areas. So we're producing a white paper to show that the 5 cranial nerves that's associated with the 5 C's of credit. Hey, Deb, hey, everybody that's watching. We're looking at the fact that how can we improve financial awareness based on looking at the behavior science of how one thinks, right? So if you look at how character, right, and this is the 5 C's of credit, you're looking at the character, you're looking at the olfactory nerve, the smell, first impression, and instinct, right? You trust the fact that you will go after and get that item, right? So the borrower example of this is a client with a clean credit history and long-standing community ties, meaning you sense it before anything is spoken, just like you smell it. So if you go inside a restaurant, everybody knows I'm from Chester, Pennsylvania, proudly raised, right? When I go back home, my best friend would tell you the first thing I want is a hoagie. I don't care what type of diet I'm on, right? I want a hoagie. I smell it, I'm gonna purchase it, and I'm gonna eat it. Can't get a hoagie no other place. But I know when I go back home, I want a hoagie. This is the character, right? This is the olfactory nerve. It's the smell, the first impression, the instinct. You go inside of a store, you see a pair of shoes. It's like, I want these shoes, I need them, and guess what? I'm gonna do anything I can, right, to get these shoes. The next area is the capacity, right? Make sure you guys tap the screen and share the live on TikTok, right? It's very important. Because again, my name is Lynette, founder of DLS Credit Solutions, located in Central Pennsylvania. I am back on Credit Tip Tuesday doing a 7-part series. And I'm looking at this to give you guys insights on how to negotiate credit from a lender's perspective and not a consumer's. It's time for you guys to understand and be empowered how you can dominate the lending table based on your credit profile. The next steps is also looking at the capacity, the eye movement. Like I just said, when you go inside of a store, you go inside a dealership, and you got your eyes feast on the actual item. They know we're looking at the financial focus through, and we're looking at the financial focus, and we're following how consistent are you to ensure you're getting that item, right? A borrow's example is a business owner with a steady cash flow, strong receivables, and a proven track record converting operational expenses and debt obligations. Capacity is your financial focus. Are you in control or all over the place, right? This is a very serious question for those that want to improve their financial literacy. Are you focused or are you all over the place? Because at the end of the day, if you're not focused, you don't understand what your max capacity is. You're going to find yourself overspending, and you're going to be back in the same predicament where you first started, right? Capital is a nerve, right? It's one nerve that I can't pronounce, but it is the number 8 nerve in the brain. And this is the balance inherent, right? If somebody says to me, oh my goodness, go on, TikTok, they have some items on there that's really nice. I'm going to get up, look on TikTok, and begin to shop, right? I'm a fan of a TikTok shop, right? I don't spend all my money on clothes. I spend my money elsewhere, but clothes, no, right? So we're looking at, this is one of a business owner, right? That want to, make sure that they are presentable, and even an individual. It doesn't even have to be business, but looking at the way that we can look at how you hear something, what makes you tick when you want to be interested in something. And also, when it comes to business owners, it's something based on FICO scores in business that goes from 0 to 99. So business credit isn't like personal credit. And when it comes to business credit, I'm going to pause here for a second. When it comes to business credit, we have people think you build business credit on an EIN, right? You don't. You build business credit on a BIN. So when you start beginning to receive funding from banks, the banks built your business credit based on the BIN, not the EIN. The EIN is the starting factor, right, of building business credit. But when you scale, you get something associated called the BIN, which is the business credit that is assigned from banks. And this will allow you to have stronger borrowing power. The next one is collateral, right? Again, this look at the sensor motory nerves and also that backup for physical support. Do you have the collateral and assets? In today's society right now, many people don't have a cushion, right? They don't have that financial strength that they need to continue to thrive, right? And that's personal or business. But we're looking at these 5 areas, right, based on the 5 C's of credit to ensure that one understand that credit isn't just a profile, it's your behaviors. That's why 10T, meaning the trending data, states that you're looking at credit in a way based on behaviors. So people say, well, I have a 300 credit score, I have an 800 credit score. That means nothing, right? As a credit service loan broker, I understand these things from an underwriter perspective. You can have an 810 credit score and still be in debt, right? Is it possible? Absolutely. And be denied for a loan. So be mindful of that, right? You want to make sure you have assets that's associated with good behaviors, because if you don't, you can be denied. The last one of 5 is conditions, right? What are the conditions, right, that you are looking at your overall credit profile? How do you deal with an external environment? Meaning, so for example, COVID. How many people were able to come back from COVID? How many people are still, suffering from COVID? Even though COVID was in 2020, guess what? People are still facing an economic downturn based on the impact of that time. So if you are you still finding yourself digging out from COVID? That means you're not resilient enough when it comes to hardships based on the environment and the decisions you made pre-COVID, right? And again, things go up, right? Expenses increases. However, you have to learn how to save. Now, hold on. Before I judge anybody, right? I'm going to be real honest. Me saving, I learned the hard way, right? Because I can be a spender, a very lucrative spender, right? But I've learned to balance that based on the conditions that are set in front of me, right? So when you're looking at, so for example, if I buy a piece of jewelry, I need to have at least 3 to 4 times that amount set aside to ensure that one, I have cushion. If not, I don't need to buy it. Do I buy it anyway? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all, right? But I know I have other areas of income to make sure I can say I can replace, right, what I've spent. But a lot of times that's not the factor in today's society in America. And so when it comes to funding and looking at grants, loans, debt, period, these 5 areas is what lenders are looking at. So they're not just looking at the overall credit profile, they're looking at how you operate on a behavior aspect. And that's why FICO's 10T was born, right? This is how you look at things, right? Again, you can have an 800 credit score, 810 credit score, right? You still can be denied because your behaviors associated with it really identifies who you are based on what your interest is. And that is a real credit score, right? So those that want to build the credit, get a pencil and piece of paper, out, and I'll let you guys have some fun. But as we are doing this, again, I do a little infomercial. My name is Lynette T. Stevenson, founder of DLS Credit Solutions. Love that I'm back on. I'm doing a 7-part series on how to rebuild and protect your personal credit. And also, credit isn't just the numbers, it's about negotiations. And so those that are building their credit profile, we do things numerically. We're not one of the companies that sit here and say, oh, we're going to remove all your debt, because that's not factual. People use a lot of artificial intelligence in order for you to match the profile, but they're not looking at the behaviors to ensure you don't go back into that previous state, right? Credit is about understanding the numbers, of looking at the analytical aspects of how you are not going to be able to go back into that state, right? And that's looking at how you can create quarterly goals to ensure that, one, you can get to that goal score, 2, remain there, and 3, make sure you stay resilient while you're on these journeys. So again, we are going to look at this in a way that this will begin for you to understand how to get to your goal score. So if I looked at the United States average, they said it's about a 650 based on the 2023 data of NerdWallet. And you want to look at this in a way that you understand how to get from the score that is causing you pain to the score that can give you some relief. So get a pencil and piece of paper out, and I will show you how I look at a person's credit score, not just the overall report, but the actual score. So how we look at credit, we do a full SWOT analysis, and that's system, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we look at this in a way that we allow you to create quarterly goals to ensure you get to that actual score. Make sure you guys tap the screen and share the live on TikTok. Hi, TikTok. Hi, everybody. Right? So here's the fun part. I want you to look at this in a way that, say whatever your score is. It doesn't matter if you're a 450, 550, 515, 650, whatever. This method will show you how to get to a goal score, and that's the score you desire, right? So when I started my credit journey, I was a 454. I'm very proud to say that, right? And I'm very transparent about it. I was a 454. How I got into the strong 800s is this method right here. And again, we don't use any software and saying, hey, we can mask your score. We can remove all your student loan debt. Oh, that's a lie, right? We also can look at the fact that we can get all your credit card debt removed. That's a lie also. Those people that do that, they don't do real credit restoration. They do things to take your money and to ensure that you're going to come right back to them, because this process will continue, right? You'll remain on a hamster wheel. But if you look at this method, right? If you look at this method, if you get a pen and piece of paper, make sure you guys tap the screen and share the live. If you look at get a pen and piece of paper, it will allow you to get to the score that you desire. So say if you had a 650 credit score and you wanted to get to an 800, again, we create quarterly goals, right? So you would take 800 minus 650, you will get 150 points. Those 150 points are needed to ensure that you get, right, to that 800 credit score. And this is how we do it. So with the 5 pillars mentioned, and that's credit age, credit utilization, overall credit, mixed credit, and payment history, right? This area of math will allow you to reach your goal, and each area, as far as those 5 pillars, is associated with that 150. So if you multiply 150 and turn that payment history that's 35% into 0.35, you would get that your credit needs a 52.5 point jump in order to get to that goal score. Credit age is 30%. You turn that 30 into a decimal, right? Each one of these percentages you turn into a decimal. So you do 15, 10, and 10. Multiply each of those numbers times 150. And if you add 52.5, 45, 22.5, 15, and 15, if you add all those numbers up, you will get 150 points. That is the same 150 that you need to get to your goal score of 800. No other financial literacy company does this for the simple fact they don't understand the algorithm of credit based on your behaviors. And we've created this segment, this formula, literally almost 6 years ago. Well, actually 7.5, 8 years ago. So we finally have it going through different processes to secure it. And it's also associated with our software that's coming out in 2027, 26, 27. So if you're looking at this, right, and if you have any questions, make sure you let me know in the chat, or you can shoot me an email. Just let me know you was on the live. And if you want the slides, once the series is completed, I will send you all the slides. So once all the numbers are calculated, if you look at this, like I stated before, 52.5, 45, 22, 15, and 15, this is 30, 35, 30, 15, 10, and 10. That is 100% of your credit score. If you add all these numbers up, that's the 150 points that's needed. It doesn't matter what your score is. It doesn't matter if you're 454, 415, 550, 535. This method works with any credit score. And we're the only business that does this because we look at things on a numerical aspect, not just we're going to remove it from your credit report. So I'll give you an example on this, right? And it's very important that you understand this. We do things so numerically to the point that we have a 97.9% accuracy of if you came to us to get your credit restored based on numbers, we are 97.92% accurate of how the points will regulate during the next cycle of looking at your credit, right? So as your credit is growing and changing, it's going to fluctuate. So I'm going to give you the example of the payment history. So if we look back, payment history on this was 52.5 points. You need 52.5 points to get to that score of 800 out of the 150 that's needed. And also what the 52.5 points is telling you, that half of your credit report is reflecting from your payment history, right? So if the payment history is 52.5 points of the 150 needed to achieve the overall goal, how was this possible? This is an example of a credit report, right, that had 11 late payments. Since payment history is associated with everything on a credit report, you count the open accounts and adverse reporting to get the actual points that's on the credit report. So, for example, if you have 11 late payments in several areas of the report, because credit utilization is not just credit cards, it's the entire report. Let me say that again. Credit utilization is not just credit cards, it's the entire credit report. When you're utilizing your credit, you're not just utilizing your credit cards, you're utilizing your entire report. So when you're looking at this numerically, again, we're going to go back. I love to teach this stuff, right? The concept is for you to achieve your credit score based on numerical areas of the credit report. So again, it doesn't matter if your credit report is a a score is a 455, 56, 15. It doesn't matter. This method is sharp and it works on any credit profile. If you look at this, if you have 11 late payments, 5 of those are missed in credit cards, and 6 are in collections, we're going to do the math. And again, we have a 97% accuracy on how the points will be articulated once the algorithm moves the credit profile, right? So if you divide the 52.5, right, that is the number of points needed in order for you to get to your goal score, and you divide that by 11 late payments, because that's the number of late payments on the credit report. Every time the algorithm move, you will get 4.77272727 points. So for every late payment that's removed or it age, you will receive 4.777 points. That is almost a 97% accuracy. If you want me to look at that again, let me know in the chat, right? If you want me to do that again, let me know in the chat. Hi, TikTok. Hi, everybody. Hi, Credit Bay. Hey, Credit Bay, how are you? Hi, everybody on TikTok, right? So we're looking at this for you to understand the dynamics, what your credit is about. I love when I see people in my industry, in my room, because it just gives me such excitement. Thank you, Love Bug. It gives me such excitement because I don't believe in that, not teaching. I believe in one, if I can give some aspects on how things are done on our side, we might can learn something from each other. So please welcome in, and I appreciate you, right? Credit Bay, me and Credit Bay been rocking off and on TikTok for quite some time. Long time no see. I know I haven't been on here in a while. So if you look at this, again, this is numerical. And if you come on a live and things like that, once the series is over, I will send you the whole PowerPoint presentation. So this is the credit utilization. Credit utilization is the most dominant aspect of the credit report. Here's why. Because it's the entire credit report. Credit utilization is more powerful than payment history because it's the entire credit report. I love you too, baby girl. So when you're looking at this, right, credit utilization is 30%. This is the powerhouse. And it includes the Resilient Score Index. Let me know if anybody ever heard of the Resilient Score Index. And this is the Resilient Score Index on the FICO score model. Now, this is one of the areas that the bank utilizes to see if you're honestly creditworthy. The credit utilization is the entire credit profile, not just credit cards. People get that so mixed up. When you are utilizing your credit, when people say leave a balance on your credit card because you are showing utilization. Well, if you have a car note, that has a balance. If you have a mortgage, that has a balance. If you have student loans, that has a balance. So concentrating just on credit cards, saying that's the entire credit utilization, that's not factual. It's the entire credit report. You're utilizing how you are looking at your credit and making the payments. So it's how you utilize it. So the second area of the credit report is the utilization, right? In that section, you needed 45.5 points. 45 points. And you divide that by the actual number of open accounts, right, that are being utilized. Now, on the previous example, I used 11 because they were the ones that had the adverse areas, right? Again, when I use the 5, these are the open accounts that are positive. So when you're looking at that, and the reason I know this because I studied it, the reason when you're looking at this, you must not have a balance. So anything that does not have a points, these areas that are needed to increase that utilization is going to be part of that goal of you reaching that 150. Let me say that again. The previous example, I used 11 because they was the 11 collections on the actual credit report. It was 6 and then 5. But when you're looking at the utilization, we're looking at the actual open accounts that are positive. And the reason we're looking at that, because it's going to reflect and offset the accounts that are not doing well. Because the powerhouse is the one that's looking at how you're utilizing your entire report based on your behaviors. This is the aspect of the credit report that says you either denied or approved, right? You either denied or approved. That is very important. Credit Bay, did you understand that? If you're looking at the accounts, you're looking at how you're going to revolve, right? Your accounts. You want to be a transactor and a revolver, right? So if you're telling people just leave a balance on your credit cards, well, what about the debt to income ratio, right? What about the debt to income ratio that says you leave a balance on one? Well, if you don't leave a balance on one area, guess what? You're leaving the balances on everything. So if you're not in a position to pay off all of your credit card, I mean, all of your debt on the credit report, telling somebody to leave a balance on their credit card is disturbing the debt to income ratio. Very important. So you want to decrease as much debt as possible, right? And this is the powerhouse because the next important one besides the credit utilization is the credit age, right? When you're paying down debt to decrease that utilization of the entire report, you always want to pay on the oldest accounts first, not the newest, right? The oldest accounts. So you want to look at that in a way that you just think about your credit report being like an old age of wine. The older the wine, the stronger the taste, right? So when you're looking at that, you want to look at this with a clear plan to say, hey, right, I'm going to look at the payment history, which I needed 54.2 points or 52.5 points, 45 with the utilization. And then next, you want to look at the overall credit age. This is powerful. And the way you determine your credit age is you want to look at all the accounts on the credit report and you add the years up. This is how you need to learn how to physically understand your credit age. So if you have 11 accounts, and this is how you learn how to pay off debt based on the older accounts. You have an 11 accounts and you add each year together. So if I had two accounts in 2010, two in 11, 14, 16, 17, 19, and 20, the sum of that will be 2014 and 0.36364. If you round that off, you would have 2014. Now, it's 2022 according to the slide, but it's actually 25. But if you look at it and subtract 2014 minus 2022, you will see the credit age is 8 years old. That overall average credit age is 8 years old. So when you're looking at your credit report, you want to look at it so you can understand it because this is how a lender looks at it. They don't just look at your score. They don't just look at, oh, well, you have, good accounts, a good credit score. I'm telling you, I've been denied with an 810. So I'm gonna put that out there. My debt to income ratio was a slight higher than 5%. Guess what? I got a big old denial with an 18 credit score. It happens. So this is why I began to study how to look at your credit and understand it in a way that you can be resilient and look at it as a lender and not just an actual someone that's going around here and saying, I'm gonna get a bunch of credit cards and X, Y, and Z. Remember, credit utilization is the entire report. Credit age is the age of the report. Credit utilization, again, is the entire report, and payment history is anything that shows good or not so good credit, meaning overall payment history on the report. So we looked at the overall credit and mixed credit, right? And we're looking at that to say overall credit and mixed credit deals with your job, deals with your business, deal with time at residency. A lot of people don't know that. Applying for lines of credit and assets. So what you see on a credit report is what you don't see is the back data, right? So when you're looking at overall credit and mixed credit, you're looking at how you move, right? Again, your rent, time on job. If you're a business owner, it doesn't matter, right? If you're LLC or not, they're looking at it in a way that your personal is always going to reflect how you operate personal and business, right? So important. So when you're building and protecting your credit, you got to do it with an overall clear plan. And looking at that is in a way that you understand these 5 pillars based on the 5 behaviors of your overall credit profile. So this is, right, part 1. So we're going to look at part 2. So I'm doing a 7-part series. In this 7-part series, I'm going to turn my camera around so TikTok can see me. This 7 parts. Hi, TikTok. So this 7-part series is going to allow you to understand the overall credit profile. Now, this is the lower level entry with when it comes to credit. But as we proceed in these weeks coming up, you're going to be looking at, one, how do you measure your APR and your tip, right? What is your APR, annual percentage rate, right? Versus the tip, which is the total interest percentage paid. People are going to learn that when you're looking at your credit to dollar ratio, how much of the tip, right, you're going to pay in order for you to stay resilient in that actual credit, right, that actual loan and things of that nature. And this will teach you how to begin to negotiate on that vehicle you want or that house you want, things of that nature. If you don't learn to negotiate, you can find yourself paying anything. And the average profit that a bank makes from a consumer is almost 60 to 120% profit. So you have to know that. I am a credit service loan broker through the Pennsylvania Department of Banking, active credit service loan broker. So I understand underwriting principles in a way that's associated with the credit, along with you understanding the dynamics of how they look at the trending data of your credit. So this is going to conclude part 1, right? Again, this is the basic elements of looking at your credit profile. So when you're looking at it, again, you need to look at the fact that, do you understand the 5 pillars based on your behaviors? Will you look at this in a way that, how are the banks viewing me as a consumer? You need to learn how to dominate this on a lending perspective so you can learn how to negotiate. This is very important because, again, saying I have an 850 credit score or 820 or 715 or 716, and you still don't have the behavior mindset in order for you to sustain those scores based on looking at your overall credit profile, you're going to fail. You're going to actually fail. Any questions, any concerns? Yeah, this is just something light to get you, to understand what credit is and what it isn't. And then I know I looked over a variation of things, but you have to understand the dynamics. If you're teaching credit, doing credit, or looking at it on a personal level, or even a business level, you want to look at it in a way that you understand the numbers. If you don't understand the numbers, you won't do well with credit. Do we have any questions or concerns? I have a grandson here, so I'm going to have to definitely cut this a little short. Any questions, any concerns? All right. Well, it was good to see everybody. Much love. I appreciate you and adore you. I will be back next Tuesday for part 2 of this series. And we're going to look at credit on what it is and what it isn't. And it's not just about the numbers. It's always about the negotiation. All right. Let's see. Love y'all. TikTok, I love y'all. Y'all are always good to me. Let me see. So I will see you guys next week, right? Same time, same station, right? And if you have any questions, shoot me an email, ls@DLS Credit Solutions, located in Central Pennsylvania, right? Thank you for welcoming me back. I appreciate you all. And I will see you guys next week, all right? Bye-bye.